This is an educational research documentary on the fair use and copyright laws in the United States of America. I am going to shed some light on the dark personas of the copyright issue. You see, the elite have us in fear from their persona that they have made about copyright laws and fair use. You know, they are putting the fear in documentary owners like myself, like YouTube, who takes people down on copyright laws, not realizing that they are the ones in direct violation of the copyright laws themselves. You see, when you create an original work, it does not give you exclusive rights to that material. In fact, quite the opposite. It gives you limited rights, only in the scope that that material is being used as. You see, the truth is that almost nobody is really in direct violation of any copyright laws. And almost everyone on YouTube that has been taken down because of copyright laws and fair use laws has actually been a lie 100%, because they have not violated the copyright laws at all. In fact, that's a small percentage of people who would actually make a copyright infringement upon the original work. You see, a copyright is just protecting the original work from anyone else copying and trying to mimic that original work, which would then damage that person and in direct competition in the same field of the original work, which is the copyright. A copyrighted work is infringed when another person or another party makes and tries to copy and distribute and make money from said materials. You know, let's take Eminem's Stan, for example. If somebody else tries to copy that work and distribute it and make the money from that, then yeah, they would be in direct violation of the copyright laws. But fair use is like me using images and references to Stan about an obsessed fan. You know, Eminem made that, and now it's discourse in our society. So therefore, the image of an obsessed fan makes us think now of Stan, which Eminem created, but he doesn't own that theology. I can now use that and say, this guy is obsessed like Stan, but he can't sue me for that, or even maybe using little images to describe that. You know, if I have to have a reason to use the imagery that I use in a documentary. You see, a research material or a documentary can use any clips they want to, as long as it has meaning and relevance to their material or their original work. It can also be a parody. They can use these clips. We can use these clips anytime, as long as you are doing a scholarly work and you are describing and you need to show that material so that you can describe directly what you are talking about. And without being able to use that material, you could not do so. So basically, almost 99%, I would say, of all people who have actually been taken down on the basis of copyright laws is false on YouTube's part. They are actually liars. They are abusing the law, and they are the ones who are actually in direct violation of copyright and fair use laws. So how can a documentary filmmaker make references to these film clips without showing the film clips in order for the viewer to grasp and understand what they are talking about? I mean, copyright law is actually a hard thing to pursue in the court of law. If you try to sue somebody for copyright law or copyright infringement, you actually have to prove that they have infringed upon the copyright and that they are actually making money from your original work. So already right there, a free research documentary already falls out of the guidelines of a copyrighted material. So it's fair use. You can use clips and bits and pieces and show and explain what you are talking about with these bits and pieces of film or pictures or whatever else you're using to describe what you are talking about. You're using their material because that is the proof in order for you to prove what you're talking about. And that's why we have the right to do it in the United States of America. Fair use copyright. But YouTube is violating these rights 100%. And you know who died and made them king? You know, what law says that YouTube needs to even take down people for copyright infringement? You know, who gave them the authority of godliness in this manner? Nobody. They took it upon themselves, or the Illuminati front, as you might say. The real elite and the string pullers of the world. They're the ones behind the copyright infringement, the abuse of it, and abusing the documentary owners and suppressing truth. That's the truth behind YouTube banning sites and banning videos, because what they're really doing is they're suppressing truth, and they're using a fake mask of copyright infringement to do it. I mean, these companies have never once filed for copyright infringement. YouTube is taking upon themselves to do it, and they're blaming the companies as if they did it. These companies are not going around on YouTube watching videos and saying that they've been copyright infringed upon. That's bullshit. That's YouTube. That's the elite. That's the bullshit string pullers of the world. So the Illuminati are using YouTube and copyright infringement to suppress the truth in the world. So when I use a clip from another Hollywood film or whatever, I'm using a super small clip and I'm describing and telling the truth as to what that clip actually means. I am not in direct violation of the copyright law at all. I'm not saying that I made that Hollywood film. I'm not trying to sell it and pass it off and make DVDs saying that I'm the one that made that film. Then yeah, I would be in direct violation. But when you are a documentary filmmaker and you are doing the research, you are absolutely within your rights to do so. Like right now, I'm going to show you some clips to prove exactly what I'm saying. Show you from the horse's mouth. This will prove in this documentary research film that I am making right now to prove my case in point. I am not going to use the entire video they made, just bits and pieces to prove my point.
In my job that that there's a lot of confusion around copyright, and I think
in my job that that there's a lot of confusion around copyright, and I think fair use is another very important issue. It's very hard. It's a very subjective test under current law, so it's hard to do too much education.
No, the truth is, you know exactly what is and what is not copyright infringement. And you, YouTube, are the ones who are liars, and I will prove it.
Fair use is a clause that grants video editors access to movies and television. Copyright law allows a person the exclusive right to control the distribution and sale of his or her creation. This is to encourage the creation of new works of art and invention that add value to society. However, there are specific exemptions to that exclusivity that allow others the right to copy or distribute pieces of another person's work under copyright law, called fair use. Fair use allows users to copy portions of a work in a review for purposes of illustration or comment, or to quote short passages in a scholarly or technical work in order to illustrate or clarify the user's observations. Journalists may also quote speeches or articles. They may transmit images or sounds associated with the work in or near a news-making event. Libraries may reproduce portions of a book to replace missing or damaged pages, and teachers or students may print small parts of a book or essay to illustrate a lesson. Parody is also fair use.
Media environment, I think you'll find these issues become very important to anybody who's constructing a website, anybody who's producing a Twitter feed. You cannot enter discourse about our culture without quoting from it. And so you'll inevitably be put into the situation of saying, what's fair use? These codes of best practices are a nice place to start, but I think that in fields of practice also need to say, through their associations, through businesses, through organizations, they need to say, how do we interpret fair use, and to develop codes of best practices that can be sturdy and reliable.
Well, Michael, as an attorney, could you share with us maybe some past cases where fair use was an issue, I guess?
Oh, sure. In our practice, we write opinion letters on about 200 items a week, building on the work that Pat Afterheide did. We had 5 films we worked on in Sundance. One had over 200 items. Another had about 450 items used under fair use, all of which were insured, all of which will be seen in the greater part. These are commercial outfits. Fair use is rooted in the First Amendment. So if you're telling a story and you need or want, or it's reasonable to use little pieces of other people's stuff to tell that story, that's protected as a First Amendment right under, and we call it in copyright law fair use. But that's where it comes from. We've had only one of our opinions, of all these opinions we've been writing, only one has been tested in court, and we knew it was going to be. It was Yoko Ono, 15 seconds of the song Imagine, sung by John Lennon. They were talking about something else, and the voiceover said, well, that scientist who thinks he's being so original is just taking a page out of John Lennon's songbook. In order to make sense out of that comment, you had to play the song, and then you got it. You saw that the song lined up with the previous work. So if you keep in mind the First Amendment origins of fair use, you'll have a good starting point.
And there are some core notions that are very helpful for you in interpreting the those First Amendment principles, even if you don't have a code of best practices. Because one thing that the judges will ask is, did you use this for a different purpose than the original, or are you merely taking something that somebody's actually selling and getting it for free, and taking market value away from them?
Well, I think it seemed. Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Pat and I just did a panel here at Southwest, and filmmakers brought clips where we actually talked about fair use, not fair use.
Is this reasonable practice? Mm-hmm. So, and generally speaking, those questions are quite answerable. So I don't think this is such a thorny area of expression as it might seem, and it's really been part of our goal at the center to be able to return this part of freedom of expression back to people and get it out of the realm of having people turn to their lawyers all the time and say, is that okay what I said? Is that okay what I did? Because they really should be coming to their lawyers saying, we need to do this and we think that we have the right to do it. And if we need to pass through legal scrutiny, here's why we think we need to do it.
Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Perfect.
Well,
And I would like to thank WebPro News and Patricia of the American University, as well as Videomaker, for helping me make my documentary.
High-quality copies of this video, as well as additional DVDs, books, and digital downloads and more, are available at videomaker.com/vstore.
And I'm sure everyone is aware that YouTube has banned almost every single one of the videos in my series that I make as a documentary, so that the whole picture doesn't get out there. You know, they suppress the truth. They use the excuse of copyright infringement to ban my videos or to take down and ban my sites. I mean, I've already been through 3 sites. I'm on my 4th site already. Now I got to sit there and upload and re-upload everything. You know, it just blows my mind that these guys can get away with this bullshit. You know, and it makes me sick because there are thousands, multi-thousands, if not millions, of disgusting, raunchy, nasty, many, many videos that should be banned off YouTube at this very moment. Satanic, disgusting videos, but they allow it up on YouTube. You know, nudity, everything I've seen on YouTube. Right now, I know tons of videos, tons of millions of hits, and there's nasty, disgusting, bloody debauchery and sex and nudity, showing titties and ass, everything. You know, if I show a short skirt, Kind of like what Alex Jones said. He even shows a short skirt, they ban his video as inappropriate. Hate speech and all this other bullshit. We're sick and tired of being suppressed and using fake excuses to do it. We need to stand up and fight for our rights.